airline in the world is probably Qatar Airways, and one of my favorite things about seeing their Twitter feed is that they'll announce new destinations that they're starting to fly to, like Bucharest, or the Maldives, or Barcelona, all sorts of great cities that can give you inspiration because now they're flying there, right? It's really exciting to scroll through their feed and see places they're promoting like Singapore, but one of the most interesting ones of these came a couple of days ago because they announced that 3 times a week they're flying to Mogadishu, also known as the White Pearl of the Indian Ocean. And you know what? I didn't realize that Mogadishu was such a tourist hotspot these days. I clearly missed something because I had just checked, foolishly, the foreign travel advice page on the GovUK website, where they indeed announced that, like, oh yeah, it's advised that you don't travel to anywhere in the country unless it's absolutely essential. Then you can maybe go to 2 cities. I mean, ignoring the fact that that's what the UK government says, ignoring that they also say pretty clearly here that terrorists are very likely to try to carry out attacks in Somalia. There is a high threat of kidnap throughout the entire country, and then they say terrorist groups have made threats against Westerners and those working for Western organizations, and then even more, because of their use by government officials, hotels are considered legitimate targets by terrorist groups. So they're targeting Westerners for kidnaps throughout the country, but also in a hotel, you're still fair game, unlike a lot of countries and how that works. But that's what the UK government says. I mean, if you think about it, like, they have the interests of their country at heart, like, they're helping you out, but they care about the UK too, and they don't want to come and rescue you. What's it really like on the ground? I like a website called Wiki Travel. It's a really useful website that like gives you, it's kind of like Wikipedia but for travel. It tells you what other travelers have thought of a place and their tips and tricks for visiting it. So we can learn about Sydney, for example, the various districts of Sydney. We can learn about what we're going to do while we're there, what we're going to see, what we're going to where to stay, etc., etc. And there's always a page on staying safe on each of these pages. They'll teach you, like, oh yeah, there's some petty crimes sometimes, there's some public transport after dark might be scary in certain places, etc., etc., etc. And as a result, you can learn a lot about a city from Wiki Travel. And so, I've never really had too much of an issue with any of the pages I browsed, but I did decide to check the pages for a few dangerous cities like Caracas. I mean, this is one of the places with the highest murder rates in the world. It's not recommended. There's a big warning, sure. Pyongyang, okay, there's a slightly bigger warning. Pretty much no government really recommends you going there because the only embassy that the West can really use is Sweden. But, like, what? If we ignore that and being gay is non-option anywhere in North Korea, like, okay, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad when it says that under no circumstances can you show disrespect. But, like, that's North Korea. We expect that. But when you go to Mogadishu, somehow it is the only page which I've ever seen which is significantly worse than Pyongyang. I mean, not only is the warning a similar size, but allow me to read you what that warning says. It says, the US State Department and most Western nations advise you avoid all travel to Mogadishu for any reason. And they say there's Al-Qaeda, yeah, whatever. They also say in 2016, there were 14 documented attacks directed at hotels, restaurants, and the international airport in Mogadishu. Independent travel will most likely result in your death. It's crazy. That's the warning at the top of the page. That's the preamble before they get into the main thing itself. We go straight from, ooh, there's 3 times a week flights to Mogadishu, the White Pearl of the Indian Ocean. Look how beautiful it is. Sure would like to visit Mogadishu, am I right? To, if you go there, you will most likely die. And even crazier than that is if you actually read through the page itself, because I am fascinated by going to the sorts of places that people don't recommend, just for curiosity. I mean, most of the time, probably not a smart idea, but why is it? A lot of places I go to, people are like, oh, it's so dangerous. But, like, for instance, Japan is significantly safer than most Western countries. A lot of the Asian countries you go to, like Thailand, even if there's unrest, you're very safe from it as a foreigner. As a tourist, you're pretty good. But yeah, if we dive into the page itself, you can read about the normal stuff, like here are the flights to get into the country. There are very few airlines that are actually flying in and out for the obvious reasons that we kind of went into before. There's it's almost impossible to get into the country vaguely via Ethiopia or Kenya, but it sounds like you're going to need armed guards, hired security forces, and experienced guides for a safe entry. The risk of being injured, killed, or captured is extremely high, which is it's a little bit scary when you hear it like that, but it's fine. If we go to the do page, because I want to hear about the exciting things to do, visitors are encouraged to stay inside for the duration of their stay. The chances of theft and or assault are extremely high while walking around the city. It's not recommended to move around in Mogadishu without security guards, and just Jesus, like I've never seen a like, oh, what to do in the city guide. Just say, please do not go outside. It is not a good idea to go outside. They have a nice page about the university you can go to. They teach you about places you can go to buy, and it's pretty nutty because you can buy guns at a lot of them. So you know that's fun. Ignoring the fact that some have caught fire several times in the last few years, you can learn about things to eat, and it's like, oh, there's a restaurant and a hotel, so. That's there you go. Those are your options. And finally, when we go to the stay safe section, it is as of May 2017, the city remains extremely dangerous and near suicidal for independent travelers. Armed warlords and Islamic militant factions still have a large presence in the city, and foreigners are a prime target. Do not wander the streets alone for any reason. Gunfire and random explosions are frequent. What? What? This is a real city you can fly into like any other. If you must venture around the city, you should be accompanied by armed and well-trained security personnel and ride in an armored vehicle. Not like, oh yeah, you can do that or that or that. It is well-trained armed security personnel in an armored vehicle, and even then, it's usually recommended not. So it says like here, even, by the way, make 100% sure that any hotel accommodations come with 24-hour private security, which is standard at most hotels in the city, catering to foreigners. Even so, hotel bombings and suicide attacks are frequent. Okay, you know, that's fine though, because basic services such as electricity are not reliable many hours of the day, and you should not drink the water under any circumstances. Food or bottled drinks sold in the city may not be safe to consume. Try to get the advice of another foreigner who has been to the city before, or follow the advice of your employer. Health and consular services are either limited or non-existent. In short, if you do not have an absolutely essential reason to go to Mogadishu, do not do it. Independent travel will only get you killed, no matter how benevolent you think your intentions might be. Even if you have a good reason, your employer or government can't make you risk your life, as humanitarian and aid workers are not safe in the city. Do not become a statistic. Well, you know, they're just overblowing it, right? You know, those pussycats over at the Wiki Travel, they just don't understand what it's really like, like in Mogadishu. Let's go to Mogadishu real quick, and let's give it a feel. So, as you can see, there is in fact an international airport. It's a tiny international airport for a major city this size. It's kind of interestingly, and you can also see how if we like hop our way in here, because fun fact, there is no Google Street View. They didn't send the Google cars around. This is just when people upload their own photos. So we only have a few of these, but we'll look around most of them. This is the university. As you can see, it's very well furnished, as you might expect from a city like this. Can we actually get around the university? I don't think we can. We can just see the conference hall. You know, it makes sense that that's mostly empty. Okay, what else do we have then? If we look for any photo opportunities, we can see this street. This is a really nice patio right here. Why would that man is not happy with his photo being taken? That man is upset that it Jesus Christ. So okay, that's cool. Look over here. There's a couple guys having a good time too. This guy is having such a good time that he's transcended his human form. That's cool too. So that's a restaurant. Over here, what do we have? We have some sand, some red sand actually. You always hear about it in Minecraft, but you never realize that it's real in the real world until you see a Google photosphere, am I right? And then if we look over here, we can see a bus stop. Oh no, this is not a bus stop. What is this? The former Somali National Theatre. It's just a giant green screen, and then it looks like they perform game shows in here, honestly, right? It does have air conditioning though, so that's impressive. So everything looks pretty safe so far. I don't see any issues that I could run into. Like if we go over here to the oh, this is a market with furniture. Pretty nice furniture too. See, a reminder, even in places where there is constant risk, and even in places where there is no electricity, or no consistent electricity, even in oh wait, we were in the same place. Let's skip down the street, shall we? Oh no, it's more of the same furniture store. This is just too packed for a furniture store, Am I crazy? Am I the only one who thinks that? Do I like my furniture stores just a bit too uncrowded compared to normal? Let's click over here. Ooh, nighttime. See, it actually does look really pretty at night, But that's my point here, is that even in places where there's no electricity, where there's constant risk of terror, and where it's generally recommended you don't go, even in those situations, a lot of, everyone assumes like, oh, everything must really suck. But it's like, no, they've got a delightful fast food place here, a village sports cafe. None of these places have Google reviews. Is there like a blanket ban on reviewing things in Somalia? No, there's not. Okay. Best of all time is the Bar Busho, but like they have bars, which actually does make a lot of sense given the the country and the religion of it. But you know what also doesn't make sense is the fact that, man, you know, even the road network. Look at this. They just have like one mega road going like around the outskirts, just in a straight line rather than like looping around it. There's a road that goes to the airport, but it just starts at this random roundabout. Man, I have so many questions about all this. I just want to know that I know I should not go. I know it is a bad idea. But what do you reckon, Internet? Should we go to Mogadishu? There are 3 times a week flights, and it's known as the White Pearl of the Indian Ocean. I'd love for you to decide in the comments down below. We'll do a poll, and if the people want me to go to Mogadishu, then Mogadishu, go I shall do indeed. Anyway, yeah, I hope you'll enjoy this video. I don't know what I was doing here besides saying, hey, did you know there's a city you can go to where there is a literally independent travel will most likely result in your death. Visiting Mogadishu is discouraged, and even more crazy, it's near suicidal for independent travelers. You ever want to travel somewhere like that? I bet you have. Mogadishu, the White Pearl of the Indian Ocean. Anyway, second channel. Don't care. Goodbye.